Hello everybody, welcome to the show today, guys. This is big. Trump has just dropped some bombshell news today, big time, on what's to come. The Supreme Court ruling has changed everything, guys. Listen here, because Pam Bondi has dropped some bombshell news from directives coming from our president, Donald Trump. They are now going after January 6th committee, guys. The people that went after all the individuals, that instead of going after murderers and rapists and using the FBI, they went after people that were there on January 6th, and now they're the ones that Pam Bondi is going after. And one of the biggest ones of them all, that, guys, I'm telling you, Stephen Miller just came out and said this guy is the most corrupt guy out there. Shifty Schiff. You heard it, guys. They're going after Shifty Schiff for targeting of Trump through the January 6th committees, the lawfare used against him, working through the DOJ, guys. The Supreme Court ruling has changed everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because now that the federal district judges cannot issue nationwide injunctions to control President Trump, Trump has just released all these ton of new directives, and it is huge. Not only that, guys, oh my goodness, this is big. Grab some popcorn, guys. I'm so excited about this. Trump has cut off all the temporary status for over millions of non-citizens in the United States. And what we just found out, guys, I'm not like, this right here gets my heart going. What we just found out is that all those temporary status non-citizens, millions that Biden brought in on planes, were getting Social Security. And now that Trump has stopped all those, and he's deporting them all back, Social Security has just seen the biggest drop in record history in payments to individuals. And with this, Trump has just issued a new statement from the White House saying that our Social Security recipients are going to be receiving a boost, guys. I've got the receipts for you in a moment. This is the biggest news ever. We knew they were giving them benefits. We knew they were using taxpayer money to pay these people to come in and vote for them, guys. And we finally have the biggest decline ever in payments in history to Social Security recipients, because he removed all the temporary status non-citizens that Biden pulled in, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. This is big. Thanks to Doge, Elon Musk getting illegals off of our system, the drop is insane. You cannot imagine what I'm about to show you guys, but this is what they were doing. They were trying to buy votes. Trump also wants to see some Republicans primaried, guys, especially one that just voted against him and wanted to take away his authority and rights as the commander-in-chief to not call any attacks against Iran. And that person was Rand Paul, guys, the only Republican to vote with the Democrats to try and remove Trump's powers from being able to call out strikes on any country that is trying to go against the United States. And funny enough, guys, guess which Democrat voted with the Republicans to not go against Trump? And that was John Fetterman. Guys, this is some insane news. Now that the Trump administration has terminated temporary protected status for millions of migrants, Social Security is getting a huge boost. Representative James Comer calls now on the former White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and 3 other former Biden aides to testify in the investigation of Biden team's auto pin use. We are seeing history right now. Guys, I saved the best for last. Trump is not playing around. He knows what's coming. President Donald Trump has now secured commitments for $1.4 billion for the elections of 2026 so that Republicans will win the midterms in a big red wave, guys. So much breaking news today. We've got it here for you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. We are so grateful that you are here with us today. I want to say thank you for your support. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want you here. Hit that subscribe button so we can take care of you every day with the top news. Lots is going on, and we're going to show you things you don't see on mainstream media. Want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation, to all of our members that donate. Guys, we are so grateful for your support, and we couldn't do it without you. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button. Guys, we got a big show for you today. Not only is Pam Bondi going after all the top Democrat officials who use lawfare against Trump because of the Supreme Court ruling, Trump just removed the largest amount of non-citizens, migrants, from the Social Security payouts, resulting in the biggest drop ever in history. And not only that, Trump and James Comer are going after all the Biden administration to call out the auto pin use, the biggest scandal in history. Guys, we're living through history right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check this out.
A massive victory for the Trump administration as the Supreme Court rules 6-3 to end the reign of activist district judges condemning all of us to live under the rule of their injunctions. Yes, the party is over, and their delusions of grandeur now come crashing down. Some familiar faces you might recognize: James Boasberg from the D.C. district, Rudolph Contreras, also from D.C., Allison Burroughs from Massachusetts. Those are very frequent actors in this scam. There are many others that we're not showing. The president today listing off some of the outrageous rulings that we have seen from judges who decided to sample what tremendous power tastes like without ever earning it.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities.
All those examples of White House policies that low-level district judges decided that they had the power to subvert. We've been talking about these. It almost got boring at some point. It's like we don't even pay attention to it anymore because there were so many. Something like 40 already so far for the president. Previous administrations would get maybe a handful the entire presidency. Trump, 4 or 5 months in, has 40 of them already under his belt.
Guys, again, you hear that? 40 injunctions. But this is the biggest news ever, guys, that the White House right here, guys, just released. This is huge, that the President Trump is slashing taxes on Social Security, delivering historic relief to American seniors. Guys, right here is the chart. This is the biggest breaking news this morning. This Social Security sees a record monthly decline. Look at to the right and up. See where it takes the huge dip? It's because Trump just removed millions and millions of migrants that were on Social Security getting payments with what Biden did, guys. You can't make this up. Now that Trump has officially won with the Supreme Court, look at that big decline. It's because he's removed all these non-citizens right here, guys. President Trump is now terminating temporary protected status for over 5,000 Haitian migrants in the U.S. They said it wasn't happening, but it was, guys. Trump is winning. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, guys, let me know your thoughts, because we are finally cleaning up America, cleaning up Social Security, cleaning up Medicaid, putting our American citizens first.
Ridiculous it is. The Supreme Court just stomped this nonsense away once and for all. The impact will really be felt on the issue of immigration. No longer will district judges be able to force our country to remain an open border collective without any sovereignty whatsoever. The Attorney General Pam Bondi on that.
Feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers and why the people of the United States elected him.
Woo!
Almost as
guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is massive. We are literally seeing so much change right now.
Good as the ruling today was watching two of the court's 3 liberal justices be exposed, showing both their ignorance and also their inherent bias. Amy Coney Barrett hammered Ketanji Brown Jackson in her majority opinion, slamming Jackson's dissent and opinion that district courts should continue to hamper the agenda of an elected president. Amy Coney Barrett writing, Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. Well put. Then while discussing Jackson's ignorance to restrictions on the judiciary controlling the presidency, Barrett then writing, Justice Jackson skips over that part because analyzing the governing statute involves boring legalese. This is about as insulting as anything we've ever seen from one Supreme Court Associate Justice to another.
Guys, and I'm telling you, like, we are seeing the craziest things happen right now. Look on the screen. This is huge. Breaking, the U.S. Senate officially voted 47 to 53 against blocking President Trump from taking further military action in Iran. Guys, they're trying to stop Trump in every single way. The Supreme Court ruling just gave him the big win. In the Senate, they just lost when trying to block President Trump from doing his job as the commander-in-chief. And what's even crazier is that Rand Paul voted with the Democrats to try to go against Trump, and John Fetterman voted with the Republicans, say, no, you can't block the commander-in-chief from trying to execute and make America safe and make this world safe, guys. We're living in history right now with what's going on, but the big wins are just keep on coming.
We know that Amy Coney Barrett is also far from a partisan Trump-loving judge. She's been a pain for Trump in a lot of cases. She's very happy to run over to the other side to show that she's not a MAGA loyalist of some kind. So for her to write that makes you wonder just how obnoxious and incompetent Ketanji Brown Jackson actually must be to earn a public thrashing like that from her colleague, who, again, is no MAGA loyalist of any kind. It's interesting that she wrote that. And then there's Elena Kagan, who just 3 years ago, when Joe Biden's White House was struggling with nationwide injunctions, said this.
It just can't be right that one district judge can stop a nationwide policy in its tracks and leave it stopped for the years that it takes to go through a normal process.
It just can't be right that we have these district court nationwide injunctions, she said just 3 years ago. Today, she finally had a chance to do something about it. But with Trump in the White House, Kagan, as you might expect, chose to defend those nationwide injunctions.
Guys, again, this is the most insane things ever, guys. Trump dropping the bombshell news that he has secured commitments for $1.4 billion for the 2026 midterms for the Republicans. Never has this been done before, guys. We're talking about Trump is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Not only winning with the Supreme Court, not only winning with Social Security, guys. This is what they promises. Promises made, promises kept. Thank you so much, Lay Lewis, for the gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. If you got a free membership from Lay, show her some love in the chat. Growing the TrueLife News family. Let's go. And thank you so much, Sassy Madeline, for the super chat. And thank you so much, Fed Up Patriot. Let's go. He said, I will never get tired of winning. To be on Trump's team is to be on the winning team. Let's go. Y'all show Sassy Madeline, Fed Up Patriot, and lay some love in the chat. Guys, what you're seeing on the screen, this is history. This is insane. And with this chart right here, that just proves what they were doing. This is from the leading report. Social Security sees a record monthly decline. Why? Because Trump just terminated all the non-citizens, the migrants, from getting Social Security. And now you see it on the screen. Look at that. It was going up and up and up and up. Trump makes the change. Boom, drops it. Why? Because they were giving taxpayer money to non-citizens. Guys, so much is changing, and I love it. This is America First policies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check this out.
MTG joins us by phone. MTG, they had the security briefing, the intelligence briefing this morning. I assumed you went, and that to me is the key point, not the bomb damage assessment, which President Trump obliterated the bomb, but actually this. Did you come away that there's any sense of urgency? There was any sense of urgency to actually begin this entire fiasco?
Well, actually, I'm on video, Steve, not on phone. So I'm here with you all on War Room. So I'm really happy about that. Obviously, we can't talk about what was said in classified briefings, or I'll get in big trouble for that. But I think what's important, the takeaway right now is important, that what they have been saying publicly and what President Trump has said is they feel successful in the bombings that they carried out and the ceasefire that has been put in place in pursuing peace. However, I will say that Israel, as of this morning, I saw has been bombing Hezbollah, the Iranian proxy. So we really hope that this thing is over with, and that's yet to be seen.
So let's turn to the big, beautiful bill. Last night you were quite concerned. We talked to Chip Roy earlier. You got any better feeling for what's happening in the Senate? President Trump has canceled leaving day. He's going to get an intel brief at 11 o'clock, an update, but he said he's not going to Bedminster. He's sticking around to kind of put the deal together and whip the vote in the Senate. Do you feel any better this morning, man?
Guys, and this is big what he just said. Senator Trump has told the Senate leader John Thune and Mike Johnson, do not leave town. You're not going on any type of vacation or holiday until my big beautiful bill is done. And the words have been just cascaded all across Congress. Senator John Thune told the Senate and Mike Johnson told Congress, don't leave town. We're going to pass this big beautiful bill one way or another. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. That is huge.
That this thing's going to be anywhere near having the MAGA codification that we've had before?
Well, the only thing I can say is that the people will not accept another big fat, basically omnibus type of bill passed by Republicans that does not deliver the agenda that they voted for, and I fully 100% stand with them. And what's happening in the Senate was shocking yesterday, watching out the provisions that we put in that strips away funding from sex change surgeries for children. I want to go off on that one for a minute, Steve, because that's an executive order by President Trump, and that is also my most important bill that I have, Protect Children's Innocence Act, that's already passed through judiciary and just needs a vote on the House floor to make it a felony, criminalize sex changes on children. So that would be completely unacceptable in the House, not just for me, but a massive majority of Republicans would not accept that. Also, the Senate parliamentarians stripped out our provision that stopped Medicaid and Medicare going to illegal aliens. That one's also a hard no in the House, as well as the Green New Scam tax credits. That's absolutely what we are trying to get rid of, and that's what people voted to end the Green New Deal. So there's many things in there that needs to continue, although, Steve, the Senate parliamentarian did not strike out the 10-year moratorium for AI on states to have their right to regulate and make laws on AI for 10 years. I'm going to tell you that's a hard no for me, a hard no, and I'll tell you why. There is no legislation currently in Congress for AI, the future of AI. So there is no way state rights should be tied behind their back to make regulations and laws for 10 years. And I have a lot of support behind me on that. I was the first that came out on that one, the first Republican that came out against it. But now 40 state attorney generals have written a letter saying absolutely not to the 10-year state moratorium. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders came out against it this week with an op-ed, and many other governors across the country. So we haven't stopped the fight yet. We're going to pass the agenda that President Trump campaigned on. We are going to make sure the people get what they voted for, and we will not stop fighting up here in Washington until that happens.
Let's go. And guys, you already heard her. She's a big no on a lot of things. And this guy is also a big no. Listen to this, guys, because this is insane. The infighting that's happening within the GOP. Let me know your thoughts. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is huge right here.
I'm not going to do it if it's going to be a big giveaway to blue state tax jurisdictions, state and local taxes, where they want my friends in this conference who represent big tax states like New York, California. Ooh, they want a bigger deduction for their state taxes. Why the hell should I subsidize their stupid decisions in their states for their expensive taxes? Why should my constituents have to do that?
I'm telling you guys, across the board, there's some big no's already because of the SALT tax deductions. They want to raise it from $10,000 to $40,000 for blue states. But what I love is what you're about to hear next, because there is some huge hits coming to the sanctuary cities with the new Supreme Court ruling. Trump is going to be stripping sanctuary all their funding if they continue to be sanctuary cities and states. Let me know what you support in the comments.
Davis, Mike, you have followed this now for years and gave us a heads up about this. Put it in perspective of exactly what happened today and how important is this for President Trump's second term and for the nation overall.
Yeah, these conservative justices may get weak and wobbly from time to time, but overall, this was a very good term. President Trump's biggest and most consequential accomplishment of his first term was the transformation of the Supreme Court to the first constitutionalist majority in 90 years. And we're seeing that today. We saw that early in the term when the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that states can regulate trans surgeries on minors. We saw it today when the Supreme Court held 6-3 that these nationwide injunctions by these activist judges are not lawful. They likely violate Article 3 of the Constitution. We see this today in a 6-3 ruling that parents can opt out for their kids when their kids are being indoctrinated with LGBT anti-religious nonsense in these schools where they're brainwashing these kids. We saw it with another 6-3 ruling where the Supreme Court held that states can have age verification to make sure that people who are going on to these porn sites are actually 18 years old. It's very confusing to me with these left-wing judges, these three Democrat left-wing judges, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. I don't quite understand what they stand for because
guys, and I want to show you this real quick because there's a lot of fear that they're trying to perpetuate across to President Trump, to those in the White House because of these new rulings. This came out today. There was new threats that came out. So they're starting to put up a lot of barriers across, look, all around the White House because of all these new threats, guys. And they're going to be doing it across Congress too because of the protests that they have word on that are about to happen. Guys, this is from the Homeland Security News, guys. DC officials are now putting up massive barricades around the U.S. Treasury and the White House in preparation for what's coming because they know that people are losing it. That Trump is not just winning in the economy, but he's winning in the Supreme Courts. Common sense is winning, but there's a lot of crazies out there that will do some stupid stuff, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
They pretend there is a constitutional right to murder kids up until the moment of birth. They pretend there's a constitutional right to mutilate these kids with trans pills and trans surgeries. They think there's a constitutional right to have kids go onto these porn sites and watch porn when they're young kids. I mean, these women need to reflect on their legal philosophies, and really they need to reflect on their lives because this is sickening what they're doing. This is not our parents or grandparents' Democrat Party. And frankly, after analyzing these 6-3 decisions, I don't know what the hell these three women are thinking.
Let me ask you specifically. I know you got to bounce, but I want to get you on here because you and I have talked about ACB, etc. She took the gloves off today on Ketanji Brown Jackson and did it in a thing that looked like other justices signed off on. Give me the inside baseball. That's not, you never really see that in a Supreme Court opinion, do you? This is it got very personal, like saying, what do you stand for? Judicial imperialism? But have you ever seen it get that personal in an opinion from the Supreme Court where the other justices signed off, sir?
No, I have not. And, frankly, I've been pretty rough on Justice Barrett. Maybe feeling the heat has helped her see the light. I'm not sure, but I would say this. I never thought she was a liberal. I never thought that she was Justice O'Connor. I always knew that she was conservative. Sometimes you need people like Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson to go in there and figure out, help Amy Coney Barrett figure out whose side she's on. Is she on the side of these three leftists who want to murder and mutilate kids, or is she on the side of Team America? I think she decided that Team America is probably the better place to go.
Let's go, baby.
No, Mike, I think that highlighting this as we've done over the last year or so, I think clearly that, got somebody's attention, and particularly the other justice signing off on this. Article 3, you've just done such a magnificent job. And I think today we've got Terry Schilling's in studio. Julie Kelly's going to join us as we're going to go through all of it. But I wanted to get Mike, and Mike's actually out on the road today. But Mike, I had to get you here to take a bow and have everybody go to Article 3. If it had not been for you and your leadership, I don't think we'd be here today, brother. And it's really, I just want to get you on to say thank you from the audience. Thank you for the fight. And we gotta drive it next session, but pretty damn good results today, sir.
Guys,
thank you.
So big, guys. Attorney General Pam Bondi has just fired multiple prosecutors that were involved in the January 6 cases per the AP. They are moving so fast right now. Bondi told these prosecutors they were removed from federal services effective immediately per NBC. Guys, this is what we voted for. Promises made, promises kept, that Trump is moving full steam ahead to clean out America and go after all the people, especially the one that he called out and Stephen Miller called out explicitly, Shifty Schiff, guys. This is massive. Guys, we're going to bring you the breaking news as it's happening. It's just like, whoa.
Martha's Vineyard for Alex DeGrasse's wedding. And I think the libs here are sending the military to find me and deport me. It's going to be the fastest deportation in world history when they find out I'm here.
Hang on. Alex DeGrasse and the crowd that's going up there for that. Martha's Vineyard's never going to be the same again. Edgartown, they're actually, the governor's going to deputize the National Guard to go down there and clean out all these right-wingers. They've never seen anything like it. And it's an infestation of right-wingers.
They'd rather have the Haitians here than the populace from Iowa. So they're going to send the planes quickly to get the hell out.
Guys, and that's exactly what Trump just did. Guys, look at this right here. Trump administration is now terminating temporary protective status for over 500,000 Haitian migrants in the U.S. Deportations are set to begin immediately. Guys, this is crazy. DHS said now it's time for them to go back or self-deport, guys. This is huge. And the reason it's huge, guys, because this exposes everything. Right here, you are seeing the chart of the Social Security payouts, guys, right here. This is from the leading report. Social Security sees a record monthly decline. Up at the top right, you can see the decline. This is, guys, this doesn't happen, guys. In Social Security, this is for the past just decades, we have always just gone up and up and up and up, and now it's a decline. Why? Because they stopped giving migrants, non-citizens, your hard-earned money. Guys, this is insane. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we are living in history right now with what we are showing you and exposing all this fraud, this waste, this abuse. And not only that, Atlanta Fed predicts the CBO underestimates GDP by 60%. They're trying to sandbag Trump. They're trying to just hold him back. They're trying, Jerome Powell's not lowering the federal interest rates, and we are just seeing a coordinated attack on the economy from these left-wing activists. Sweetie Pie, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, Joel, you are the best. I love all the news you give. Thank you so much, Sweetie Pie, for the chat. And Victor Basil, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, glad to be a part of the history to make better future for our kids with our President Trump. Let's go MAGA. I love it, guys. If we aren't winning, and what you're about to hear next, guys, this is some massive, massive news on what's coming out this weekend, guys. Huge news. We're bringing it for you. The breaking news. We don't stop, guys. We are on it. Listen to this.
What does this weekend really entail? Maybe one or two sticking points that you think you can iron out.
Well, here's where I think we are, Harris. Look, I believe in teamwork. It gives you somebody to blame. But at some point, you've got to make a decision. Now, our quarterbacks are John Thune and Mike Crapo. They're both rock stars. They're trying to make everybody happy. It can't be done. We have cussed and discussed and rediscussed. We need to start voting. Everybody needs to adult real hard, and the jackassery has to stop. I have encouraged John and Mike to tell everyone, look, we're going to start voting tomorrow at noon. If you're not happy, offer an amendment. We'll have a full amendment process. But here's the bottom line. In any legislation of this magnitude, some people are just going to have to settle for a ham and egg sandwich without the ham. That's just the nature of the beast. And I think that if you put everybody to the test and say, look, this is why God made votes, it's time, vote, I think the bill will pass.
All right,
guys,
so you gave us
this is huge because, again, who are we calling out? Right now, it is on this guy right here, Senator John Thune, who with this website, guys, Conservative Powered by Conservative Review, has a Liberty score of 51. This is a F because on his conservative votes, 24 he has voted for, but for liberal votes, 23 and missed votes 3. So you literally have, guys, in my opinion, let me know your thoughts. This is a rhino. This isn't somebody who is a MAGA. This isn't somebody who has a record of being MAGA or putting America first. And this is the guy that is trying to lead the Senate to put forth Trump's policies. I don't think it's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts because you don't have a Liberty score of an F at 51 and try and align with Trump's agenda.
Information about that vote tomorrow, and then if that doesn't pass in the Senate, then you'll go back and you'll make some amendments. This is something that I've been talking with Republican House members about, particularly Mike Lawler here in New York City, who wants a SALT deduction cap to be raised. And it's become, I understand, a point of contention getting this bill across the finish line and onto the president's desk. I talked with Lawler last week on The Focus. Here's a bit of that.
The $10,000 cap is not something that I can support. And I've been very clear from the moment that I ran for Congress that I would never support a tax bill that doesn't adequately lift the cap on salt.
Senator, where are you on this one? Because if it goes back to the House, Congressman Lawler told me, I mean, you need 218. He won't be part of that. So they'll fall short in the House.
Well, I love Congressman Lawler. I respect Congressman Lawler, but he and about 4 of his colleagues are demanding that the American people spend over $300 billion, not million, $300 billion to make them happy. And that is unacceptable. If the congressman wants to vote against the bill, have at it, but it's time to vote. I think I wouldn't make any changes to the SALT provisions. I wouldn't. And if you're unhappy with that, vote against it or fill out a hurt feelings report. But it's time to vote.
A hurt feelings
report. State and local taxes that blue states, there are only 5 of them, 5 members, I should say, who represent in those blue states who are pushing for this. And
they want us to spend over $300 billion to make them happy. And they say they'll vote no if we don't. I say, let's don't do it. And if they want to vote for the largest tax increase in American history, they've got to do what they've got to do, but they better be prepared for the consequences.
Wow.
Well, you have a long weekend ahead of you, and the goal for Monday, we will be covering every second of it with that first vote you just told us about, noon tomorrow, noon on Saturday.
No, I'm not saying that we definitely will. I'm saying I've asked John and Mike to set a deadline of noon tomorrow, and I hope they will take my advice.
Got it.
Guys, this is big stuff, because while this is happening, guys, because of what has happened with the Supreme Court ruling, these people, look at this picture. These people aren't protected anymore. We finally have the green light. Representative James Comer is now calling on former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and 3 former Biden aides to testify in an investigation of the Biden team's auto pen use. He said, as part of our aggressive investigation to the cover-up of his cognitive decline and potentially unauthorized executive actions, we must hear from those who aided and abetted this farce. Guys, this is calling them out. When you talk about the cover-up of the Biden mental decline, you're talking about being held in contempt of Congress, which they've stated, which means potential jail time, fines, being terminated and fired from ever holding a government position. Guys, this is what we voted for. We have known and we've seen this, and we're finally getting the Supreme Court rulings, the green light to move forward, and it is beautiful. Because again, too, what you're about to hear next, the limits of the use of the nationwide injunctions is changing everything. Check this out.
Has turned universal injunctions into fish food, as well it should have. There's no basis in statute. There's no basis in Supreme Court precedent. There's no basis in English common law for universal injunctions. Judges who just dislike what Congress and any president has done just made them up. And good riddance. I'm proud of the Supreme Court. It's a very extensive ruling. You can tell it from Justice Jackson's dissent. She's mad as a bag of cats, and that's probably a good thing for the American people.
Look, we're expecting to hear from the president just moments from now at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and he's already put on his Truth Social, and we can share that again if my team puts it up, that this is a victory. He says that the United States Supreme Court, even the birthright citizenship hoax, has been indirectly hit hard. It had to do with the babies of slaves, same year, not the scamming of our immigration process. Congratulations to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Solicitor General John Sauer, and the entire DOJ. News conference at the White House, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. What are you expecting, and what would you like to hear from the president?
Well, number one, the Supreme Court did not rule on birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court ruled on universal injunctions. As I said, they turned universal injunctions into fish food. They should have. We have 3 equal branches of government. One of those is the judicial system. They're equal. They're not superior. They don't get to rewrite congressional actions or presidential actions every other Thursday because they don't agree with them. That's just not the way our founders intended it, and I'm proud of the Supreme Court today.
Look, let me ask you about those judges across the country and how it would seem, and they would have to defend against this because it certainly appears in many instances that this is continuing to be lawfare against the current president.
Right there,
and
guys.
it's not supposed to be that way. I mean, the scales of justice are not supposed to tip politically one way or the other. Why do you think we're seeing what we're seeing against Trump?
Well,
guys,
both sides.
and I want to show you this because the lawfare is so real. Kash Patel, Bongino came out. Oh my goodness, this is so good, guys. When I get excited to show you something, guys, you know that it's big because when we're reporting the news every single day and I see all this stuff, there's very few things that surprise me. When I saw this come across my news feed, I said, this is what America voted for. So right here, you can see that since they had so much resources, basically half of the FBI was trying to go after all the January 6ers. That's as messed up as, you're hearing it, but it's the truth. But check this out. Since they redirected and put, oh, I got this. Oh, this is so good, guys. Oh my goodness. Since they've put the actual FBI focused on the right things, they have cleared out. Look, since Kash Patel and Dan Bongino took the helm at the FBI, they have arrested 14,000 criminals, 62% increase from the previous year. This includes 825 violent child predators and 140 human traffickers. Why? Because of this. Check this out. While Americans were locked down and desperate, this is from Kash Patel, and desperate for PPE, Linda Sun and Chris, who cashed in allegedly lining their pockets while serving the CCP interests. This is corruption that endangered lives. This is from Kash Patel. Dan Bongino said, read the last sentence again and bookmark it. The last sentence says, the FBI will not tolerate public officials who sell out their country. This has been happening for a long time, guys. And we finally have the people like Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, who said, no more. FAFO, we're going to catch you. Thank you so much, April Price, for the super chat. Let's go. Says, sorry, gotta go, having a home visit because I just got out of the hospital at Friday after 7 days being home. April, our prayers are with you. Hope you feel better. Tai Matt Chong, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, I'm very happy DJT to kick these butt out of China and their connection with Democrats, plus investigate fraud elections that will help our South Korea too. Let's go. Y'all show Tai Matt Chong and April some love in the chat, guys. This is so much winning. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is this MAGA, baby? Because I feel like it is.
Have abused it, and by it I mean universal injunctions. The Democrats more than the Republicans, but both sides have abused it, and it's illegal. There's no basis for it in law, and I've just been waiting for the Supreme Court to do this. I mean, anybody who knows a law book from an LL Bean catalog knows that federal judges just made up this concept of universal injunction.
Yep.
There's no basis in statute, no basis in Supreme Court precedent. There's no basis in English common law. They just made it up because they don't agree with what a president or Congress has done. You know, if they disagree, I'm sorry. Fill out a hurt feelings report, buy a comfort rock. But they can't just say, I disagree and I'm putting the entire action by another branch of government on hold because I don't like it. And that's what they've been doing. And they're not the superior branch of government. They're an equal branch of government.
They're also subverting the power and the will of the people, which is a complicated matter with a president who won the popular vote and all of the battleground states just last November. I mean, America made a decision, and I don't believe, and you sit on the Judiciary Committee, I don't believe that anyone has the right to take that apart.
Well, look, Congress makes mistakes. Presidents make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with a federal judge saying, I think you got this one wrong. But the federal judge can do that and render a judgment on the parties in his or her court. That federal judge can't do it for the entire nation.
Right.
And that's what they've been doing.
Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is, again, guys, the common sense that is finally taking place in America, guys, and it is beautiful because, again, too, it's not about one party having their way. It's about putting America first.
And acting like politicians in robes, like many legislators. And the Constitution does not give them that power.
Before I let you go, in terms of the president's agenda, his vision, I know we talked already about the big, beautiful bill, but there are things that he's trying to do right now to answer the call that was put out there by all of the illegal immigration that flowed unvetted, those aliens into this country, all during ex-President Biden's term. He's trying to do things not only to cull that, but also to set into place that you send the worst back first. Will this help that course?
Yes. Yes. And look, in 100 plus days, President Trump has secured the border. Now we're trying to figure out what criminals, what drug dealers, what human traffickers President Biden and my Democratic friends who believe in open borders let into our country. And we're trying to get them out. Now that takes more money. That's why we're going to pass this reconciliation bill. But I consider it one of the president's biggest accomplishments. The other thing that's coming down the pike, the president has sent us what's called a rescission package, Harris. Okay. $9.7 billion of spending porn that Congress has previously passed that he's asking us to throw out. We need to pass that.
Yes.
That includes money for public television. I don't hate public television. I just don't think the American taxpayer ought to subsidize any form of the media, not Fox, not CNN, not the New York Times, and not the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. I don't think that's how taxpayers want their dollars spent, and Congress needs to pass that too. The House already has. Now, the Senate has got to take it up next. And shame on us if we don't pass the president's request.
That's a lot of money, $9.7 billion in...
Guys, and this is... You think this is the end of it, guys? I want you to hear the smackdown that just happened on CNN. Our boy Scott Jennings, guys, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a player in the Republican Party because even President Trump has already called him to do so, guys. But this is what we call winning on every single platform, guys. Check this out.
And he knows that the lower courts cannot carte blanche stop him, which hugely increases the power of the executive.
Yeah, look, this is a great week for him, not just because of this ruling, but earlier in the week, the Supreme Court handed him the ruling on being able to deport illegal immigrants to third-party countries, essentially. So he's on a little bit of a winning streak in the courts right now. And you know what a lot of Republicans are saying is, nope, we're not tired of winning yet. This happened. The stock market's at a record high. He brokered the cease.
Are you tired of winning, chat? Let me know in the chat, because I'm not. The winning is just, it's so beautiful, guys. It's America first.
Fire in the 12-day war. Peace broke out between Rwanda and the Congo. I mean, gas prices are at a 4-year low for the summer. I mean, win after win after win. And this particular one is the most important because these individual judges had been, I think, unfairly stopping the president from governing. He won the election. They did. We don't have 600 presidents. We have one president. And now he's going to be able to actually govern. And so you could make an argument that this week or the last 2 weeks, the best week or 2 weeks of his entire presidency.
Yes, guys. And that's how monumental they are. Number one is because they're taking away all the money that was spent on stupid stuff, guys, right here. Did you realize they did it? They did this in the Congress. The USAID paid $3 million to a rapper in Gaza to produce anti-Semitic rap songs. Like this stuff is just asinine, guys. USA has been funding the Taliban $40 million a week. All this stuff that's coming out, we're reporting on it. But what I love is that the wins, they are 100% going after everybody. Pam Bondi came out and said she just fired multiple prosecutors involved in the January 6th cases. And now they're going after a big one, Shifty Schiff, who was kind of the leader in all of this, to hold him accountable. And what I love, guys, is that we have such a big push that Trump has told not only the Senate, he's told the House of Representatives, y'all's butts are not leaving till we pass the big, beautiful bill. No vacations. No July 4th, nothing. You're going to stay here and figure this out you're not leaving, guys. And that's exactly what's happening. Listen to this.
Beautiful weekend, lots of moving parts, breaking developments. Senate Republicans now promising a vote before work starts Monday. And a new report says that negotiations on the state and local tax deduction cap are making progress. The Senate parliamentarians striking down key provisions like it's not Medicaid cuts. It was a cap on provider taxes that states use to siphon money off the federal government. It's basically like money laundering. The Senate was trying to stop it. The parliamentarian gets in the middle and says, no. And then she also tried to stop the Senate from banning Medicaid benefits handed out to illegal migrants. They didn't even ban them. Who wants this? The Senate didn't even ban them. All they wanted to do was reduce the amount of federal funding that went to states that offered Medicaid benefits to illegals. This is all related to money and spending and taxation, and this clearly partisan bureaucrat gets in the middle of it.
I think what we're starting to see is just we're watching it play out with all of the nuances. You know, one of the things that most of my friends who went to go work at Doge said is, look, we went in, we could easily find where there was all this waste, abuse, fraud, who needed to be fired, who didn't. If you just looked at it like a business, we could make a lot of cuts and really drastically change this. And we kept getting told you can't do this because of Rule 72.3, Section A. And they're like, what the heck is that? And it was some random bureaucratic rule. And so I think we're seeing the same thing play out here where people have kind of common sense and they say, well, let's go do the common sense thing. But instead, there's either somebody who's an unelected official or somebody who's able to step in and basically play, gotcha with all of these different rules. And so I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is we should really simplify the rules so that people can do the right thing, not simply just have to operate within this bureaucratic organization.
Well, what doesn't make sense to me, and I think this is what you were alluding to, Dagan, is I thought reconciliation is supposed to apply to things that have significant effects on revenue or spending. It's got to have a significant fiscal impact, right? So I do not understand why the parliamentarian would say that Medicare eligibility for immigrants who are not citizens and the spending on that does not count for fiscal impact. Obviously it does. Same for Medicaid, same for CHIP. All of these have financial impacts. So
guys, and what you just heard, this is as massive as it gets for those that are on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. When Trump said, and even Elon Musk said, you can mark my words, they're going to see an increase, this is where it's coming from. Social Security handouts just had their largest monthly decline ever recorded. This is what happens when you end the waste, fraud, and abuse. In this chart, this is where they track the payments going out each month for Social Security. And look at the right-hand side, guys, the top right-hand side. The largest dip in recorded history. Why? Because they removed non-citizens, temporary status citizens that Biden gave them temporary citizenship and Social Security numbers and Social Security payments. They've been removed thanks to Trump so that our people that actually paid into the system can get more of their money back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys. What's new? Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said President Trump keeps winning those hard fights for America. Trump heart, let's go, baby. Y'all show What's New some love in the chat.
If the law was everybody's got to change their boy's name to Bill, that has no fiscal impact. But if the law is money we spend, and I'm talking about tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars when it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP for illegal immigrants, that's fiscal. Why in the world does a parliamentarian get to rule against that? And then what they say, well, we're going to fix it. So we're going to rewrite the thing a little bit. And my understanding is a lot of that turns out to be how they extend out the time frame over which these things get repealed. What difference does it make? Why is that a rule? It's incomprehensible to the average person who would just like to not spend taxpayer money on illegal immigrants to get health care.
Stephen Moore, Unleash Prosperity Hotline makes a good case Senate Republicans could have replaced her at the beginning of the year, and they didn't. And now she is the most powerful person in Washington, wreaking havoc on the big, beautiful tax reconciliation bill, as Stephen Moore is calling it. There's been $2 trillion in budget savings and reforms alone in the last few weeks, where she's ruled that they can now only be passed by a 60-vote Senate supermajority, all of the ones that we've listed here. So look, I will only I do not like this either, but I will say Larry Kudlow on Wednesday said, she's fine, we'll find a way. Don't worry too much about it, except that what Steve Moore is saying is that this means that budget deficit will be higher for years to come.
Right.
And Democrats are now applauding this.
Guys, you just heard that. Senator John Thune could have replaced this woman who is literally destroying Trump's big, beautiful bill. Elizabeth Mercado or something like that. But Senator John Thune did not want to replace her. This is a Harry Reid Democrat-appointed parliamentarian, and she is decimating the MAGA priorities out of the big, beautiful bill. You just heard what she said. She is the most powerful person right now in Congress, and she is having her way. Senator John Thune came out and officially declined overruling or firing her. So you tell me, guys, who is really destroying Trump's big, beautiful bill? Is it the Democrat who we know would do it regardless who is in leadership? Or is it the person who has the authority to replace her or fire her? Because that's what we're seeing right now, and you just heard it. She is taking out so many provisions. She is blocking, literally allowing for illegals to still get Medicaid. And this guy, Senator John Thune, who I think is a rhino, is letting her do it. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm telling you, it is getting into a fight over this in the Senate.
Chip Roy said yesterday, Congressman, who is a fiscal hawk among hawks, said that he thinks that the Senate is hiding behind the parliamentarian, right? Because they don't want to cut. They don't want to cut any of this. And she's letting them off easy. They're like, oh, we're going to get so tough on these provider taxes.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So she's appointed by the majority leader. She's not supposed to be really political. She's supposed to be looking at it procedurally, as Brian is pointing out. That you've got GOP members that want her fired and are calling for that now, like Tuberville, for example, because you've got the folks who are trying to push their not so GOP agenda, and she is cloaking for it. That's interesting. I also just want to point out that a $9.4 billion, and I know it seems like a drop in the bucket, but it's not a total, waste of breath and energy rescission package passed the House. The Senate now has an opportunity to pass that as well. These are, will be cuts to things like taxpayer funding for public broadcasting, which some people have a big problem with. So as we're dealing with the big, beautiful bill, there are some spending cuts that are trying to be made at the same time.
Every 10 billion counts, Jackie.
Listen, to me, every nickel
10 billion
counts.
On the state and local tax deduction, what has been cobbled together by Republicans is entirely drop new limits on the pass-through businesses, state and local tax deductions as part of this pending deal. It would have raised about $40 billion, but apparently Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent is briefing the Senate Republicans right now on it. This is all from Punchbowl and Laura Weiss. I highly recommend following Laura Weiss.
Blue state businesses would have no cap on their state and local deduction
Pass-throughs,
in this new idea. That's interesting.
Yep, it is interesting. Rather than rewarding the rich,
well, you just wonder if that's where the big pressure was coming from then on some of these congressmen, the small businesses. Okay.
Guys, I'm telling you, are we not seeing everybody being exposed right now? And what blows my mind is that right now, we're trying to push forward with America First policies. We're trying to make sure that Trump is putting Americans first. And that's why he did this big, huge thing immediately following the Supreme Court's ruling that these nationwide injunctions are void. They're not valid. They cannot be enforced because these federal district judges were never given the authority to control a sitting president. But Trump administration is now terminating temporary protected status for over 500,000 Haitian migrants that Biden flew in on planes into all these cities, and it has just caused chaos like nobody's business. But Trump putting America first. Sue Ellen, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said my medical clinic parking lot is empty. No waiting for appointments. Bye invaders to DJT. Let's go. And Deanna Barkman, thank you so much for giving 5 TrueLife News memberships. I love it. Y'all show Deanna some love in the chat if you got a free membership from her, guys. That is so awesome. Trump's big week. I'm telling you, there's more coming. Lots of stuff are in the works right now, guys. But this right here is 100% what America voted for. Check this out.
Donald Trump's best week ever just got even better. A big win at the Supreme Court and a big loss for rogue liberal judges. Small ball district judges are no longer allowed to stop the president's agenda. Liberal lawyers can't sue every time Trump acts and get an Obama-Biden judge to issue a nationwide injunction. The ruling was 6-3. Trump stopped by the briefing room to take a victory lap.
Well, this was a big one, wasn't it? This was a big decision. This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law. It gives power back to people that should have it, including Congress, including the presidency. And it only takes bad power away from judges. It really doesn't take power. It takes bad power, sick power, and unfair power. And it's really going to be, this is a very monumental decision.
Bondi was there, and she said the nation just got a lot safer.
You should all feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers and why the people of the United States elected him.
Among other things, rogue judges were stopping Trump from eliminating birthright citizenship. So after this ruling, birthright citizenship is getting fast-tracked to the Supreme Court. Justices hear the case in October.
Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation.
Lawfare is officially dead. Frivolous lawsuits were the only thing slowing down the Trump agenda. With Democrats out of power, radical lawyers were the only resistance. Finally, a random judge in Maryland isn't more powerful than the President of the United States.
This is a big win for President Trump.
Such a big win for the Trump administration. And not just Donald John Trump, the person, but the office of the president. Whoever comes next is going to get the benefit of this ruling too.
Doge cuts, so-called anchor babies, sanctuary cities, banning child sex change surgeries, all get free and fair hearings at the Supreme Court immediately. The Supreme Court just admitted Trump wasn't abusing his power. Out-of-control judges were. They lost the case and the moral high ground. More good news for America. The stock market just hit an all-time high today. Sorry, Panikins.
Let's go.
And top economists are confessing that Trump was right about tariffs.
Mr. President, a leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked, because I've been going through abuse for years on this. Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
It didn't end there. Gas prices just hit 4-year lows right before summer. So cheap that Congress can drive to work next week to watch Trump sign his big, beautiful bill.
Everyone working together, Leader Thune, Speaker Johnson, with President Trump's assistants, have been able to move narrow majorities forward. And I think we're going to be able to bring this home. The president will be signing the bill on July 4th.
Yes. You know what goes well with beer, barbecue, and fireworks? No tax on tips. Trump isn't even taking credit for it. He's giving it to a beautiful waitress.
I will never say good-looking waitress, because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that. But nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Not good, sir." "Why?" "The government is killing me on tips." And she looked at me, she said, "Sir, there should be no tax on tips." I said, "Say it again."
No.
"There should be no tax on tips." I said, "That's the coolest thing I've ever heard."
Now the media...
Guys, I don't know about y'all, but it's just like, that makes me super happy because, you know, when you hear, and Trump talks, and we've heard, he talks to everybody. And when you hear him talking to, you know, a normal person, just a waitress, just doing her job, but gets her input and then literally takes that and spreads it across the country for a win for the average American. Is that not what America is all about, guys? If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, I love it. Because again, too, it just shows you that great ideas come from everywhere. And when we put America first, lots of winning comes from that.
Wouldn't let him leave. Donald Trump was in the briefing room for an hour. That's more time in one day than Biden was in the briefing room his whole term.
Wow.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it.
He didn't stop there. Today he signed another peace deal, this time in Africa. Rwanda and the Congo came to the White House to end their 30-year war. The peace treaty was brokered by Trump and Rubio, and the Africans say Biden just hung up the phones on them.
Many American presidents overlooked this conflict. They didn't do nothing. Even myself, I covered President Biden's administration. I pressed many times about this conflict. People are dying in Congo. This country has so much potential, but they need help because this war is destroying the country.
Right.
They never gave me any answer.
I shouldn't say this because it's politically incorrect. She said, "She's beautiful and you are beautiful." I'm not allowed to say that, you know, that could be the end of my political career, but I said it anyway. But you are beautiful and you're beautiful inside.
Soon Africa will be calling him daddy too. Of course.
Guys, I have to show you this because again, too, the winning is so good right now. But look what just came out. J.D. Vance surges to a 34-point plus lead in the 2028 Republican presidential primary per Emerson. I see it. J.D. Vance as president. Marco Rubio as vice president. We're talking about some continued MAGA, baby. It's some continued winning.
Trump got a little something from the deal. The M word.
Was able to get them together and sell it. And not only that, we're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to. Look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House.
It was a historic day at the White House. But Canada was in the room and they tried to make it all about themselves.
It's not Canada. This is about Canada.
Why not? Why not Canada, by the way?
Why?
I mean,
because this is about a different subject right now. This is right now actually a much more important subject. We just ended a war that was going on for 30 years where 6 million people died. So don't ask me a trade question on Canada.
The only way Canada can get our attention, 51st state, or we can't hear you. We're too busy doing deals.
Let's go.
We've had a big week. You know, we've had a big week. We've had a lot of victories this week. NATO was a tremendous victory. The war was a tremendous. Look, we were talking about this for 30 years, about Iran being nuclear. And all I said is it will not be nuclear, and it's not going to be nuclear. And, you know, I want to give credit to a lot of people, most importantly to our great military. Boy, they put out that fire. Once that happened, once those bombs got dropped, that war was over. That war was over, but I just want to compliment them.
You know who isn't having a big week? The Ayatollah. He's hiding in his cave and he's lying through his teeth.
I'm going to respond to the Ayatollah's statement yesterday that we won the war. Oh, God, we won the war. And I said, look, you're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in his country. You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil nuclear sites. They were now has been proven. They hit it right down in the spot 52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon, you couldn't see a thing. And they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target. And overwhelmingly, and it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it.
Donald Trump says he's the only thing keeping the Ayatollah alive. Quote, I wish the leadership of Iran would realize that you often get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Peace. Democrats are singing the same tune as the Ayatollah. They say our bombs don't work, and they don't say thank you.
They're just finding something to attack them. I mean, that's it. There is no position. There is no goal. There is no set of ideas. It is just, what can we find a way to attack Trump? How can we say that he's a failure, or what he did is not a success? Or I just, at this point, kind of, you start to lose credibility when on every single instance, you're just saying, nope, not good. Nope, not good. Nope, not good.
Trump gave a beautiful waitress credit for no tax on tips. Why can't Democrats give him credit for the Iranian hit? The party's split. Some are calling the president a war criminal, and others are calling him an American hero.
I don't agree with the president of the United States. Do not, on many, many issues. But you have to admire that when the United States says all options are on the table, he just proved all options are on the table. And China and Russia and even North Korea have to step back, because that has a level of deterrence. So the blast radius of this goes much farther.
Democrats have to face the music. There's only one commander in chief, and he conducted quite a week.
Guys, what a win, guys. I just like the winning is just happening so much. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to serve you every single day with the top news, guys. So much is going on, but like I said, we want to bring you the truth. We bring you the receipts. We're showing you everything that's happening, and this is a big week, guys, of what's going on. I want to say thank you to all of our viewers, all of our subscribers, all of our members of the channel, guys. Thank you so much. Remember, when you are a member or you give a super chat donation, we take this money and we donate it live on stream to local charities. And this next month in July will be to a local children's home. This month we donated to a local homeless veteran shelter live on stream, guys, and it's all because of your support. And we just want to continue growing our giving and changing lives. I want to give some special love to What's New. Show What's New some love in the chat. Lay Lewis for gifting 5 True Life News memberships. Deanna Barkman for gifting 5 True Life News memberships. Sassy Madeline, Fed Up Patriots, Sweetie Pie, Victor Basil, April, Ty Matt Chong, Sue Ellen. Guys, show them some love in the chat. So much history is going on. Thank you so much for liking our videos, sharing our videos, and remember, we are here to serve you. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.